Squint. Welcome to the Cigar Lounge. My name is Jonathan Garlow. Today we have Logan Staats with us in the studio, and he's going to perform a live song from an upcoming album. So let's do it.
Took a walk down Market Street with my new suit and my acoustic guitar, counting the cracks on the sidewall till I reached my favorite bar. Familiar faces, familiar places, familiar graces. Familiar faces, familiar places, familiar graces. What you say, graces? Took a walk down Wall Street where the billionaires smoke Cuban cigars, counting souls in the sidewalk. No one knows who they are. Counting faces, shattered graces, shattered faces, shattered places, shattered graces. What you say, graces? On my chain, I've done out the cheap thrills, do it all again. I've broken all my bills, spent on my chain. I've done out the cheap thrills, do it all again. G-E-M, 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 do it all again. Took a walk down Market Street with my new suit and my acoustic guitar, counting the cracks in the sidewall till I reached my favorite bar. Familiar faces, familiar places, familiar graces. Familiar faces, familiar places, familiar graces. What you say, graces? Took a walk down Wall Street where the billionaires smoke Cuban cigars, counting the souls on the sidewalk. No one knows who they are. Shattered faces, shattered places, shattered graces. Shattered places, shattered places, shattered graces. What you say, graces? Whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, oh, oh. I've broken all my bills, I've spent on my change. I've done out the cheap thrills and do it all again. I've broken all my bills, spent on my chain. I've done out the cheap thrills and do it all again. Again. And do it all again. And do it all again. And do it all again. Do it all again.
Yeah. Nice, man. Sweet. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, man.
This is 6 Nations.
Yeah, yeah.
This is extremely unusual. Please forgive me, but could we start off the interview or the with maybe who your parents are and who your grandparents are?
Okay.
Like I know a few Staats, and
Yeah.
people will be watching this. That's something that's common on 6 Nations. Like my
Yeah.
dad will say, like, who's your grandparents? You know?
Yeah, it's a common name too, and I get asked that a lot. So my
Right.
mom is Patricia Staats, and my grandparents are Gord and Goldie Staats. So
Okay.
I know there's lots of us out there. So
Yeah. That's like all your relations, right?
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
connection. I did that just for the viewers. You know?
yeah.
How long have you been singing seriously?
Like I was counting the other day, I was looking at a video on YouTube, and it was from when I was 16 years old. I was sneaking into bars and playing at 16 years old, and now I'm 26, so that's 10 years, and it's crazy. Like it's 10 years that I've been trying to do this, but like,
Yeah.
especially really hard and giving her like quit my job and doing it full force for like the last 2 years now.
Yeah. Well, I have to say your sound is great,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
and I really am expecting big things from you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Last night I went and watched Logan do a set over at 2 Doors Down,
Yeah.
and I was listening to you, and you sound spot on. Like I could tell, like there's some professionalism going on there. I didn't notice you going off pitch. You don't really make mistakes. I can notice. As an artist, where do you go after that? Like it's no longer about technique. Is it more about style?
Yeah. I mean, like for me, like sometimes in situations like this, like in front of a camera and stuff, I have trouble communicating, or even face to face. Sometimes I'm not good socially, right? But through a song, to me, is like I can tell you more in 3 minutes of a song than I can sometimes having a lengthy conversation with you. It's just how I kind of communicate. And I just last night, like any other time, I just kind of closed my eyes and just did that. It's just kind of don't worry about what you look like or what you seem like. Just close your eyes and get in that zone, and that's kind of what I do to find that pocket.
Like, is there anything that you work on? Like, are you like you don't? Or have you reached like maybe a cap of skill, or is there still things you try to do?
Playing music is like any other thing, man. It's like you hit these walls sometimes, And it's like, man, I suck, and I'm not getting any better at guitar, and I'm not writing any new songs, and my lyrics aren't really. But it's like it's like you break through these walls, and all of a sudden it's like song after song after song, And it's just like it's just like any other thing, just kind of breaking through those walls, as an artist.
So, Ghost Town has had some success.
Yeah, man. We've been doing.
Was it Aboriginal People's Choice Music Awards?
Yeah, man. We took home Best Rock Album, which was a big deal for the band, Great stuff. Now GTO's working on our second album right now, which is pretty big news, So
Yep.
It's really, really a busy time right now, man. It's crazy. Like I got my thing going on at home here with Six Arrows Media, doing my solo record and stuff like that. So it's a really busy time for me.
How would you explain to someone the differences between like GTO Logan Staats and like solo Logan Staats?
My music that I bring to the table, it's very organic, more personal, And GTO is kind of, it's just like, everyone's got that kind of, I think that urge inside of them to kind of rock out and kind of be a rock star, and the front man. And it's just kind of my outlet to kind of express that side of me and just kind of be a wild man, And then I'm very reserved with my solo stuff, Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So it's definitely a softer edge, and a more personal and intimate sound.
So instead of asking what your influences are, like I've been getting into vinyl collecting a lot, and so I would say to you, like if you were trapped on a desert island, like what do you what kind of what like records would you hope that you'd have with you?
if I needed one record, one that's been pretty influential on me is the band, you know, The Last Waltz, and everything that the band did surrounding Bob Dylan, you know, and then just the magic of them being on stage together for the last time, you know, that would be one of my favorites for sure. The Last Waltz.
And did your like mom listen to the band, or how? Like,
Yeah,
I'm trying to
man.
get into the mind of 16-year-old Logan.
Yeah,
who's a
man. My
rock
mom
star.
was listening to the band. My mom had Robbie Robertson solo stuff going, like that Crazy River, that let's go down that crazy river. I remember that stuff playing, like coming home at lunch and stuff, you know. So like Robbie Robertson was a staple around my house. And,
Nice.
anything he did, you know. So he's definitely a huge influence of what I do, you know. Another record, you know. There's this indie rock band from Brantford. They're actually no longer together. They're called the Vermicious Kinid, and their sound is kind of always resonated in what I do, and I'm a big fan of them, and I still listen to both their records consistently today, you know. And they've always been a band that I've always listened to, you know, no matter what period I was and kind of almost the band that kind of introduced me to music, you know, like what music could be.
Vermicious Kinid.
Which is the monster from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where they got.
They're
the
from
band name.
Brantford.
Yeah, they're from Brantford.
Brantford has some crazy bands, don't they?
Man, it's like such a hidden little community that's going on there, man. It's got a sound that kind of resonates from it, and it's just like.
There was a punk band in the 90s called the Earthlings. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They released a green vinyl, like a little 7-inch. And maybe I'm the only one who knows of them, but they were amazing. And one time I was at the movie theater, and I was starstruck because the Earthlings guy was there. He's tall like you. And probably no one in the world has ever heard of them, you know? But there's these Brantford bands that are like ahead of their time and amazing. Why do you think that is?
Like, I remember being 16 years old and going to that old venue in Brantford, the Ford plant.
Yeah.
And being like, and listening to like a lot of like punk rock in my day and like my early days and stuff, and going to this place and seeing the Arcade Fire. They just rolled through Brantford. Then it was before they were anybody, right? At this little dive venue, and I was like, whoa, this is what, like, music can be this. And that's acceptable for music to be this. And it's like, it changed what it was for me. And that...
So people watching this, it'll probably be 2015.
Yeah.
So what do they have to either look for?
You know, I'm really stoked to finally get this solo record cracking. You know, people have been waiting for this record to drop. There's been a couple different studios that I went to work on it at, and it just like blew up, and like a couple bad experiences in that regard, you know. And then finally I found a place where I can kind of call it home, and I feel comfortable actually putting this down, you know. So I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for the Logan Staats record, and also, you know, the new GTO record popping off. That's gonna be wild too, man, because that's all new stuff that we've been cooking up. So that's gonna be pretty crazy too, man.
Sounds like big things.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be crazy.
So before we go, I'll just ask one like not serious question, but like I've had short hair all my life, but I've been growing a mullet. Do you have any advice like for the like I find like when I'm sleeping, like my hair will be crazy and uncomfortable, and I'll like have to like kind of get it out of the way, and like I'm a side sleeper.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the hair, man?
You gotta just fucking tie it up, man. Pardon my language, but you gotta tie it up, man. Like, I'm the worst. I am the worst. I'm the guy like at Wendy's with like mustard and like a little chunk of bacon in my hair. Like, I'm that guy, you know? So like,
I haven't made it there yet.
I just fucking rub it in and fucking and continue. That's the rock and roll shampoo, man.
All right, I'll try to explain that to my wife. But anyways, thanks for coming on to the show.
Man, thanks for having me. Dude.
Rock on. Rock on.